Well, all right, rough gospel, so let's kind of get to it. In my childhood, one of my iconic pictures in my mind of my childhood was going swimming with my family, more specifically with my dad, and it's just, once again, an icon moment where my dad would be in the water. Either I'd be in outside the swimming pool, and he wants me to jump in, and so there's all these pictures of all this, and I'm in one of them somewhere, and of me just jumping and trusting that my dad would catch me. And when I was smaller, it was okay because it was a swimming pool. Swimming pools are easy to jump into. You can see the bottom, you see what's going on. However, we went swimming in lakes as well. I grew up in Florida, lots of lakes, and there was one lake where we went to that had a big old dock, and then people would come there to swim a lot, and then multiple layers of either diving or jumping. And so now here comes the problem for me then, is that as we all have done this, when we look at it from ground level up, you say, oh, no problem, until you get up top. And no matter what level it is, it always seems higher than it was from looking up. And the same thing, and I can remember many times where I've got my whole family, and here's my dad down there, and they're all saying, jump. And no, I just don't trust. And by then I've learned that I could die. I have some notion of dying, because it's amazing how young you know what dying is. And so I said, no, I'm not going to do it. And here's the problem too, because you're swimming with kids. And so while I am sitting there discerning what to do, a whole assembly line of kids are just coming by and just going around me, smiles on their face, happy as can be. Don't trust them. Don't trust them. Finally, you do jump, and you say, all right. So then you join the assembly line, and you keep on going. And so, all right, it makes sense now. But you had to take the risk. And today's gospel is all about the risk. And Jesus makes it quite clear to us in terms that we're not quite used to hearing Jesus speak. Because we all like the good Jesus, the happy Jesus, the real forgiving Jesus. That's the Jesus we want always on our side. But today we hear about a master who harvests where he does not plant, gathers where he does not scatter, takes what he wants, is in charge. And says, all right, so this is kind of a God now that we have to deal with. And what does that mean? Well, it comes down to, once again, according to this end-time reading, is what we're approaching, the end times, the end of the year, is risk. How far are we willing to go to risk to follow God? And according to this reading here, Jesus kind of says, I want you all in. He says, I give you time, I give you talents, I give you all sorts of treasures that you have inside of you that you can use, and we are to use them. But how? And how do we know that we're using them? That's the thing. So, we've got to go to the first reading here. I think that's very important. First reading is about, really, a man who is looking for another woman, a wife, a husband looking for a wife, and it says, the good news, if you find one, it is a treasure. So, what's it all about? It's all about relationship. Jesus today is challenging us that we are always to be in relationship. We have to use our talents, our gifts, for the purpose of the other. And we're always to give. Now, that's not as easy as it sounds, but it is important, because if we don't, then we become like that servant who buries. Now, what stops us from not giving? Well, we've all been in this boat before. is when we're in relationships, sometimes our relationships are not good. We've all had not good relationships, and we might be in some relationships that are not good now. And I'm not necessarily talking about romantical relationships. It could be friendships, it could be co-workers, it could be relationships with life, and that's what I'm talking about. I really want to throw this net out broad here so that we're always in relationship with one another. And some do not work out. And we all of us, or most all of us, can sing one old country song, "Someone's Done Me Wrong." You can all sing it. I can sing it, you can sing it. And it's okay, but we can't sing it all the time. That's the problem. Is that we've had bad relationships in our past. People have screwed us. Accept it. That's the way it is. To be a human being means we're going to be taken advantage of. People are going to not treat us correctly. And we hear it and see it all the time, and we always react the same way. Oh, how could they have done that? How could they have done that? Well, it's because there's sin in the world. It's always going to happen. So, we are going now, according to this reading, we're going to take the talent and the gifts that we are given, and we're going to spread them out, and we're going to use them. Are we going to get burned in doing it? Yes. Are we going to be taken advantage of? Yes. And are we going to get hurt? Yes, to all of that. That's what we have to accept. However, there's more to it. The servant who had the one gift and buried it was fearful and didn't continue on and try again. The other two that had 5 and 2, you know what? They just kept going. And for us, it's the same thing. We keep loving and loving and loving. Doesn't mean we're always going to be in the deepest relationship with everybody. We can't do that. But the important thing is that we are open and we are people-oriented, so that Jesus' love, compassion, works through us onto the other. And you know what? That makes all the difference in the world. So, we cannot be fearful like that one servant. We cannot sing our "somebody's done me wrong" song all the time. We are always going to be adding verses to it, but we just can't sing it all the time. So that now we accept when somebody has done us wrong. However, here's the difference. We do not let that person who has done us wrong make us freeze and bury. That's what we cannot do. Instead, we look forward and look around. There's plenty of people in this world to love and to take care of. And when we do that, then that makes the difference not only in our life, but with Jesus working through us, makes the world a lot better place as well.